All right. Good morning, my friends. Welcome to today's 1 hour session hosted by Prevention Plus Wellness, LLC, located here in beautiful St. Augustine, Florida. My name is Dr. Chudley Wirch, and I'm the president and founder at Prevention Plus Wellness. So we had a full session yesterday, and then we had complete implosion of technology about 20 or 30 minutes into the session. I don't know what happened. I could have lost a signal. I think I didn't have the latest download of Zoom. They continually update the Zoom download. I think that could have been a factor, but whatever it was a mess because I kept trying to log back in for those of you that were here. Thank you so much for your patience, and I apologize so much for that technology breach, but sometimes that happens, and you know, I tried repeatedly to get back online. It didn't work. So anyway, we're beyond that. We're on to something new. I know today's Veterans Day for those of you in the United States. So if you have off and you're not attending today, no problems, because this session is being recorded, and I will send everyone who registered for this session a link to the recorded session, so you'll be able to watch it at your convenience. So no problem. Everything's going to be good. So we got an hour today. I don't think it's going to really last that long, so really feel free to interact. I think we have a small group. Let me just double check. I think we have one person on audio. I'm going to shut that off. There we go. There we go. And so lots of room for interaction. If you have questions, if you have comments, if you don't understand something, if you want to participate, please do. I think we're going to have probably a small group today, even though we had a full sellout in terms of registration. Because of the holiday, I suspect we'll have less people, and also because of the fact that we had to reschedule it a day later because of the technology problems. Do know that we are having a brand new webinar tomorrow, and that webinar is on healthy behavior guidelines for youth. So if you're not on that sounds good to you, do go to our website, preventionpluswellness.com, and under the heading of news, you'll be able to see an announcement for that, and you'll be able to register. All right, so today's session, as you can see, the youth alcohol vaping, cannabis opioid PPW program slides. So what this is about is we updated our program slides. We updated the slides for most of our Prevention Plus Wellness programs to make them even easier and more convenient and more successful for implementation, not just in person, but particularly online for this period for all of us during the pandemic. So let's take a look at the objectives. You can see them listed here. Number one, we're going to explore the newly revised PowerPoint slides for the Sport Prevention Plus Wellness program. Sport, by the way, is our evidence-based program that focuses on alcohol primarily, other drugs a little bit as well. So we'll be focusing on sport, but we'll also be focusing on the vaping PPW program. By the way, vaping PPW emphasizes e-cigarettes as well as the marijuana and the opioid PPW program. So we're going to look at the slides a little bit for all of those programs. Secondly, we're going to identify how they I'm having some problems, so I'm hoping everybody's still with me. I see my system is freezing up, and I don't know why, but I'm going to push forward in hopes that everything's all right. Secondly, second objective is to identify how these new slides increase the ease and quality of implementing and evaluating a Prevention Plus Wellness program. Thirdly, to list the three-step. Remember, All PPW programs are evidence-based practices, screening, brief intervention. PPW programs consist of 3 steps, and we'll be going over those with you in the slides. Lastly, compare slide directions for implementing and evaluating PPW programs, and we'll look at the different levels or developmental levels, I should say, of our programs, high school and middle school. Same, but quite a bit of difference between them and the younger kids, the elementary school version. All right, so let me see if I could shift slides. So I'm not sure, right now I'm having the same problem I did yesterday. I don't know. And it's very frustrating, I'm sure, for you as well as for me. My system is completely frozen right now. So I don't know. I'm trying to do what I can to see if I could get us back online with everything. So the program is not responding for some reason. I'm actually gonna, I'm going to shut it down and reboot, come back. So if you miss me for a minute, you'll understand, I'll come back. All right, trying to get the system back online. It's frozen again. I'm going to give it one more shot. All right, I'm back. Once again, I don't know what in the world is going on with my Zoom system, but it's not allowing me to do the video, which is fine. You don't need to see my face anyway, but the main thing is you could see this slide. So for those of you hardy folks and never quit people that haven't left this session so far, would somebody send me a chat note to ensure that you could see the slide and can hear me? I just want to double check that. Send me a chat note or give me a thumbs up that you could confirm that you could hear me and you could see me. That's what I really need to know at this point. Okay, I see good morning from the, okay, very good. Awesome. All right, thank you guys. Again, apologies for the system, but let's go ahead and proceed. I'm going to show you what we've done with the slides. So here we go. Starting with the Sport Prevention Plus Wellness program. Sport focuses on alcohol. It's our evidence-based program. And we'll start with the high school, and then we'll look at an elementary school, middle school program, and then you'll get an idea of what we've done. So what we've done basically is a couple of things. We've added some notes into the note option in your slides. For those of you unaware of what that is, or not learned about what that is, if you look at your slide right now, you'll see at the very bottom there's a note section. It's very easy to get to that note section. You click on view. I'm looking right at my panel here on my PowerPoint slides. You click on view, and well, it's not working. Okay, so never mind. Oh, there it is. Click on view, and then you'll see in the middle of your control panel, I've got my cursor pointed at it. There's your notes pane. So by clicking that, you open up this little space beneath your slide, and then you could enter notes. So what we've done is we've added notes for you, the implementer, the teacher, the instructor, to remind you and to help you implement your program with the fidelity and efficacy. So that's one thing. The other thing that we've done is that we've altered the slides, excuse me, at the end of the program, the goal setting, to make it a little bit easier and to improve the quality of it. I'll show you all those things today. So looking at the Sport PPW program, this is your first slide. You'll be presenting this, or you would be presenting this to your youth, either in person, individually, or in a group, or online. And so let's take a look at the directions that we've added. If you look at the directions below that initial introductory slide, you'll see before introducing the program, collect the pre-test survey from youth by administering either the scannable survey in person. So if you're implementing your program in person, you do have a scannable pre-test. Your pre-test and post-test are optional, but the beauty is they are designed to be implemented within your single session Prevention Plus Wellness program. And you, perhaps even for the first time ever, can determine the fidelity and the effectiveness of your program for your youth, implementing very focused evaluation right then and there, before the program, after the program, and you'll get feedback from your youth, which is essential. It's essential to promoting your program as well as to improving your program. Now, I know many of you in the past have had surveys, epidemiologic surveys, annual surveys, biannual surveys. Sometimes they can capture how well your program, your prevention programs are doing. Sometimes they don't. This will capture how well your program does because it's focused, lasered right on your program itself. You're implementing your Prevention Plus Wellness program. You collect pre and post tests, and you'll be able to get data, quantitative and qualitative data from your youth that you're implementing your program to, and which has really been missing from the prevention field. That kind of focused data is so essential to promoting and improving your program. and to really getting a sense of how you're really having an impact in the lives of your youth. Very, very essential data. So it'll help you monitor your program. So if you're implementing your program in person, any Prevention Plus Wellness program, the direction in the note section there is you take your pretest, your scannable pretest, and you distribute it and you give directions to have your youth complete it. That's if you implement your program in person. If you continue reading the directions, it says, or by posting the online customized survey link in the chat space prior to beginning the online presentation. So you've got two options to collect your pretest and your post-test surveys to evaluate your program. The first is that you can distribute the scannable forms if you're presenting your lesson in person, but if you're presenting it online or in a combined in-person online for those that are streaming online, what you can do is we can provide you with a customized link to the pretest. We have a SurveyMonkey pretest and post-test. All you have to do is drop the pretest into the chat space and have your youth complete it while you wait for them. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So essentially, I'm going to stop the share and I'm going to go to the chat space. Here it is in your lower right hand corner. And let's say pre-test link. I'm just going to show it to you right there. Let's say that's a pre-test link. You should all be looking in the chat. Mine is showing on the right hand side of my screen. That's a link right there. You instruct your students to click on that link and give them instructions to go to that SurveyMonkey and complete it. Takes only a couple of minutes, and that's it. You don't have to scan the data. You don't have to touch the data, enter the data. It's all entered for you. So it's really a very beautiful thing to collect your pre-post data using the link that we provide you if you have any of our Prevention Plus Wellness programs. So it's as simple as that. My suggestion, you just download it or display that link, cut and paste it, put it in the chat, and allow your participating youth or young adults to click on it and then to complete it. The beauty of it, again, not just the ease, and when you're ready to see the data, we'll send you the data, the actual raw data, and an Excel sheet will show you the summarized data on SurveyMonkey, lots of good information on your program. So that's the pre-test, post-test link. Let me go back to sharing you the slides to the sport program, and let's continue reading those directions. So at the bottom there, in the note section, give youth directions to complete the confidential survey and wait until everyone has completed the pretest before launching the introduction of the lesson. So you might show this first slide and then read the note and say, oh, I remember, I need to collect the pretest. That's good. That's what that note is all about. If you already remember, then you don't even have to show this first slide. You could just open up the chat option, drop the pretest link, give instructions for your youth to complete the pretest. And then once they're done, you could show this slide and begin the lesson. Okay, that's your pretest. That's optional, but really, really essential for you to monitor the program fidelity and effectiveness, and very, very easy, especially when you do it online, because we can give you a customized link. And by customized, I'm referring to what we do is we put your organization's name or some abbreviation of your name before the title pretest and post-test. So, you know, it would be ABC Coalition pretest, ABC Coalition post-test, and we'll send you those customized links. So just your youth and your organization will have access to your data. All right, so that's the first new component of the Prevention Plus Wellness slides. The notes in this initial slide, which reminds you to collect the pretest data either by scannable form if you're implementing your lesson in person, or by online link, SurveyMonkey if you're implementing it online. And and that you want them to complete that data before you launch the lesson, before you start your lesson. By the way, for those youth completing the online survey, the SurveyMonkey pre-test and post-test, that's going to be essentially anonymous. So chances are the quality of the data, in other words, the honesty of that data is going to be better than if you collected it in person by scannable forms. Young people are used to completing surveys online, and their confidentiality, if not their anonymity, will be protected, and that will increase the quality of the self-reported data. So that's the first slide. Then you go to your second program slide. Notice it cues you and your youth as to what's coming up. Complete the health and fitness screening survey. So let's take a look again at the chat, at the notes, I should say, below the slide. Now, normally I would show these slides and I'd have them expanded to the largest version. Let me show you what I'm talking about. The largest version of the slide. Let me see here. This is what I'm talking about. But when you do this, when you expand your slide, then you don't see the notes. So I'm having this purposely in this version, this format, so that you could actually see the notes with me. All right, so this is the second slide. Let's take a look at the notes. Either, and these are directions for you as the implementer, either distribute the screening survey to youth during an in-person lesson, and or show the subsequent slides which show the survey items. For example, there's the beginning of the survey. You could show these following slides and ask your youth to answer the survey questions on a blank sheet of paper if you're providing this to them online. Again, you got two options. If you're providing it in person, you actually have a screening survey and you can distribute that and have your youth complete it. You could show the slides along while they complete it, or you don't have to, it's up to you. But if you do implement this online, since your students online are at home and wherever, they're not going to have the screening survey. So what you'll do is you'll instruct them, as the note directions say, to complete the screening survey items on a blank sheet of paper. Just a reminder. And so we provide this training to you during our 2-hour online program training, but we've now added it into the notes section of the slide so that you could be reminded of it and follow along. Okay, so in other words, let's take a look at those screening surveys. So for example, for sport, this is the high school level, students will be completing the screening survey on a blank sheet of paper. You'll have them write number 1, and then you'll have them write every one of those sports or activities they've done in the last year. They could write down baseball after number 1, baseball, softball, basketball, and you'll give them credit for even, you know, throwing a ball, dribbling a ball, shooting a ball, whatever, anything they've done physically in the last year. That's sports physical activities in the last year. And then it continues on to the next slide because there's a long list of physical activities, and then youth are able to also add extra activities, sports, work, physical work, etc., anything that they've done physically in the last year. And they could write that either on their screening survey or on a blank sheet of paper. Now, let me just, because this is a common cause of confusion, let me just explain the difference between the screening survey and the pre-test, which you may have just collected at this point. A pre-test and the post-test are specifically designed to evaluate your program, to assess and monitor the quality of the program and the outcomes of the program. That's the pre-test and the post-test survey. The screening survey is a part of the intervention. It's a part of the program. Prevention plus wellness programs are evidence-based practices, screening and brief intervention. There's 3 parts to them. Let me review for you. I know many of you have heard this already. For those of you that have been in our training or webinars, the 3 parts are: 1, you screen youth for their current health habits. not just substance use, but wellness behaviors, physical activity, breakfast, nutrition, sleep, even stress control. That increases awareness of their health behaviors. That's step number one, screening. Step number two, feedback on each of those behaviors screened. You're going to provide them feedback. You're going to provide them a positive image communication designed to cue future or desired images of themselves unconsciously, being more physically active, fit, successful, healthy, etc. This increases motivation for change. That's step two. And then that's feedback. And then step three, you're going to walk them through goal setting to avoid substance use and increase protective wellness behaviors. Screening, feedback, goal setting. Those are the three steps of the screening, brief intervention, prevention plus wellness programs. So that's the difference between the screening behavior and the pretest survey. Pretest, post-test surveys are all about evaluation. The screening survey is a part of the first part of the actual intervention, prevention plus wellness intervention, whether it's sport or vaping or opioid or marijuana PPW or any of our other PPW programs. So you show your slides. Youth are completing this on the screening survey or a blank sheet of paper. And you can see the different questions. We don't need to focus too much on this, but you can see differences, regular physical activity. Question 3 is about social environmental influences on regular physical activity, particularly friends and family. Question 4, eating regular breakfast. Question 5, sleep. Question 6, alcohol. Look at the note below this slide. Have youth answered the substance use item? In this case, it's item number 6. Some of our programs, there'll be more than one substance use item. But the substance use item or items, have them answer this to themselves when presenting this lesson online. Why? Why would I do that? Because you have to assume that someone may be listening in and watching your youth while they're involved in this online lesson. So again, they're at home. You may have a parent or some other adult or friend, or it could be anybody listening in, and you want to protect the confidentiality of your youth. And since the substance use items are the most sensitive, you want them to just answer this to themselves rather than writing it down. Because if they write it down, then someone else could see it, and then that could cause a problem for them at home. Does that make sense? Let me know if it doesn't make sense. Send me a chat note or question, and I could clarify that for you. So that's a very important reminder, a note reminder for this particular slide. Typically at the end of the screening survey, there'll be one or more substance use questions. And if you're implementing this online, a good reminder is to have your youth not write the answer to this item like they did the others. See, for number 5, they usually sleep, they put a number 5 and they'll write a yes or no. But for number 6, you're going to have them just answer to themselves. Okay? All right, continuing along, there's the restatement of the screening survey, the first screening survey question. The feedback is positive. Images, fit and strong, illustrations so that youth can see representations of themselves, males and females, different types of a variety of ethnicities, different kinds of activities, and then how alcohol in particular interferes with that wellness behavior, sports, physical activities in the last year. Repeat of the next screening survey question, and here you'll see down below, have youth answer to themselves. They've already answered this on their screening survey, either on their survey hard copy or on a blank sheet of paper. So you're just restating it to sort of set the stage for the feedback that you're going to provide, which is about 30 minutes of regular physical activity, 30 minutes 4 or 5 times a day. Here's the benefits, including positive images. And here are the barriers. But in between this, then there'll be a discussion question. This is really important, especially when you present your Prevention Plus Wellness program in a group, and even more so in a group online, because it's likely to, you're likely to lose young people if you don't get them to participate. Also, you want them to reflect on their own behaviors, their own habits. So here's the note. Take a look at the note again. Pause and have all youth answer this question to themselves. So the discussion question here is, remember we're on regular physical activity. What types of sports or other physical activities would you like to try or do more of? So what you're doing is you're getting them involved, keeping them involved, and you're getting them to think about their lifestyles. This is all about them. You're getting them to reflect and increase awareness about their habits. And then the note below says, ask a few youth to share their responses verbally or read a few online chat responses. So if you're in a group physically, of course, you're presenting this physically, you're showing your slides, your group's in front of you, you'll ask people to raise their hands and choose 2 or 3 to get a couple of responses, just to have that interaction. If you're presenting this online, you could go around, if you have a small group, you could go around the group, have everybody respond. If not, you could unmute some people and have them respond, or you could have them respond on chat, and you could look at 2 or 3 and read 2 or 3 responses on chat. So those are your options to have that interaction in person and online. It could be either verbally or it could be by chat. And most, if not all, as far as I know, online platforms allow that chat option. So the rest is pretty much the same. There'll be a repeat of the next screening survey question, a note in the bottom saying, have your youth answer to themselves. They've already answered it on the screening survey. Slide showing the positive images about that behavior, how substance use interferes, and in between a discussion question and the note. Reminder is, again, pause, have all youth answer to themselves, and then you could choose 2 or 3 or so youth to respond either verbally or by chat. And that all depends on how much time you have for implementation. So when you were actually practicing your program before you implement it, you'd want to time yourself and make sure you have enough discussion so that there's interaction, but not so much that you go over your allotted time for your lesson, whether it be in person or online. So I'm just going to skip through all of these and go down to the end of toward the end of the slides where we get to the 3rd section. This is all feedback. This is the 2nd part of the lesson. Remember, 1st part, screening survey, increases awareness. 2nd part, feedback, cueing positive images, showing how substance use, particularly in this case, alcohol, interferes. And now what we're going to do is goal setting. Complete a goal plan / contract. This is the self-regulation piece. This is the piece where we're going to have youth initiate behavior change. Really, really important. Research shows goal setting critical to initiating and maintaining behavior change and developing self-control. So let's look at the note below. Read it together. Either, and again, you've got 2 options. Distribute and have your youth complete the goal plan contract form in person. So you have a contract, a goal plan and contract form with your program, with your sport PPW program. You can distribute it if you're implementing it in person. Or you could show the following slides and have youth complete a goal plan contract on a blank sheet of paper during an online lesson. So that's your option. If you're in person, you could distribute the goal plan, have them fill it out, walk them through it, help them complete it in person. If you stream this virtually, then you're going to show the slides, the following slides, and you'll have them complete the goal plan on a blank sheet of paper, just like they did the screening surveys. How does that work? So here it is. It's an 8-point online goal plan contract. No note there, but there's a note, and there's no note here. Oops, I think I missed something, didn't I? Nope. Okay. So you're going to have them and just follow the slides. Number 1, write the following statement on a blank sheet of paper. I pledge to avoid using alcohol and drugs during the next 7 days in order to maintain an active and healthy lifestyle. So give them a chance to write that statement. Remember, they're writing a goal plan. So they need to have paper. You're going to have give them a moment to make sure they have paper, make sure they have pencil. They should have it from when you ask them to do the screening survey. So give them a chance to write number one and to write that pledge. That's the pledge to avoid substance use. The second part is they're going to identify a healthy behavior to improve. There's the directions on the slide. Write one of the following healthy habits to improve in the next 7 days. Notice it's a very short-term goal, very good to start and launch the behavior change. So they're going to write a goal, either something related to A, which is sleep, B, breakfast nutrition, C, physical activity, sports, and D, stress control. Now, let's take a look at the note below the slide. Very important directions for you as the instructor. Okay, give youth some concrete examples of measurable and achievable goals in each of the 4 health behavior areas. So that's what we recommend, giving some samples of each of these: sleep, breakfast nutrition, physical activity, and stress control. At least 1 or 2 examples of each. Youth need examples. They need to see how to write a goal. I understand goal teaching, a goal instruction is included at some schools, at some facilities where youth are at that you may implement your program. This will be a good review if that's the case. Others will have no idea about how to write a goal. So this is really critical information for them. Goal setting is critical for achievement, success, and controlling and shaping, learning how to control and shape their own behaviors for the rest of their lives. So you want to give some examples, and again, it's going to be measurable. That's one thing, so they can determine if they've achieved it every day in the next 7 days. And 2, achievable. What I see is youth will oftentimes set a goal too high, they fail at it, or they might even set it too low and there's no effort. So it's that sort of Goldilocks in between, not too high, not too low. They have to strive to make some change, but not so much that they'll fail. So let's read the rest of the note below. For example, improving sleep can include shutting off and locking away your smartphone, setting a regular time to go to sleep each night, making sure your room is dark and quiet, or increasing your nightly sleep goal by 30 minutes most nights. So those are some examples you can give to your youth. Continuing on and reading the notes. For healthy nutrition, which is item B, some examples could be increasing your fruit and vegetable intake by 1 item each day, or for physical activity, which is item C, it could be getting an additional 10 minutes of fun physical activity Monday through Friday next week. So those are some examples. So the idea here, the instruction here for you as the teacher, as the implementer, is to give, a couple of examples of each of those behaviors, how they can write a specific and a measurable, specific, and an achievable goal. Very important for you to help them with that. That's step 2, and they're going to write number 2, and they're going to write one of those areas, either sleep, breakfast nutrition, physical activity, or stress on their goal plan paper. Step number 3, they're going to write a measurable, achievable wellness goal, starting with number 3, which is, now there's no note here because it's all written right there within the slide. They're going to write a specific, measurable, and attainable healthy habit goal that they can achieve in the next 7 days. And there's some examples. Playing tennis, measurable. Getting more exercise is not. Eating fruits and vegetables, measurable. Eating healthier is not. You can see the difference between what's measurable, what they can see they've achieved that day for the next 7 days. Number 4, they're going to write the exact amount or the quantity on their sheet of paper. So to go back, remember, they've identified a behavior. They've listed a measurable, achievable habit. They've listed under number 4, that's 2, 3, and number 4, the quantity. Could be 30 minutes exercise, 1 more fruit or vegetable, and then number 5, the frequency for that week. It could be 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday, each day of the week, etc. But they want to set this, remembering they want to achieve the goal by the end of the 7 days, if not the first 2 or 3 days. Item number 6 that they write on their blank sheet of paper for their goal plan is who other than themselves will they share this goal with and ask to co-sign it. Could be a parent, grandparent, aunt or uncle, older brother, sister, trusted friend, somebody else. But they're going to write that down under number 6. Number 7, they're going to write down where they're going to post their goal plan so that they could track it each day for the next 7 days. It could be bedroom, wall, or mirror, bathroom, whatever. But under number 7, they're going to write where they're going to post it. Then 8, there's 2 parts to it, 8A and 8B. 8A is they're going to date and sign their contract. And 8B, they're going to go get somebody else to date and co-sign it. Somebody that they identified here back in number 6. So they're going to have this complete goal plan written out from number 1 through number 8B. Then you'll be able to read this congratulations statement, very important. And then lastly, you're going to thank them for participating. But note, take a look below the slide. Don't forget, there's a note for you as the teacher. And I'll read it for you, and you can read along. Before dismissing the youth, administer either the scannable post-test survey in person, or if you're presenting this online, show your post-test link in the chat space. Give directions for your youth to complete the confidential survey, including the open-ended questions. There's 2 of them. That's the qualitative data. You want qualitative data, and you want the quantitative data. The post-test has qualitative data, 2 open-ended items. And so that this instruction for you is to remind your youth to take their time and to complete not just the closed-ended items, the quantitative, but also to write responses in those last 2 open-ended items. Now you're going to wait till everybody's completed the lesson before you dismiss them. That way you'll have the same number of post-tests completed as you did pre-test. You don't want to have a bunch of people leave the lesson before they complete their post-test online. Whether it's online or whether it's in person, you want the same youth that completed the pre-test to complete the post-test. Okay, so that's it. That's a little view of the notes that we've added that will help you as an instructor implement your program and with fidelity and to monitor its effectiveness over time. I'm going to pause at this moment and see if anybody has any questions, notes, anything that they want to say. I'm going to go to the Q&A first. I see that Jules says, when is the new schedule for your webinar on healthy lifestyle guidelines for youth? That is tomorrow. Tomorrow, same time as always, 12 o'clock Eastern, 9 a.m., 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific time. That's tomorrow. Thanks for asking that question. Let's see if there's any chat notes. No, I don't see any chat notes. I don't see any chat notes. Oops, sorry, I got the poll by accident. I don't see any chat questions. Let's see. Okay, so no questions, then we'll be able to just continue along, and I'll show you another set of slides that'll continue to give you a better understanding of what we're doing with the new slides. Let's take a look at the vaping PPW program. That's the e-cigarette program. And rather than sport for high school, this is vaping for elementary school. Let's see what the differences are on the new slides for the elementary school. Elementary school kids are quite a bit different than the middle school, high school kids. Those, you know, adolescents, pre-adolescents are more developed. They could understand things. The children, the elementary school children may have issues with reading and comprehension. And so this has to be implemented with a little bit more caution. The goal setting, we simplified it because an 8-point goal setting online going to be too complicated, I think, for many elementary school kids. So let's take a look at the slides. Let's take a look at the notes down below. The notes for the first slide are pretty much the same for high school, middle school PPW programs. Before introducing the program, collect a pretest survey from youth by administering either the scannable survey in person or posting the online customized link in the live chat space. Give youth directions to complete the confidential survey and read each item and response option on the pretest before launching the lesson. So this is the key difference that I recommend. And for those of you that teach the elementary school children, you know this better than I do even. There's differences in comprehension, differences in reading ability, differences in writing. So if you're going to have them complete a pretest, either a hard copy of the pretest or you're going to give them a link and have them click on it, you're going to have to walk through each question, read it aloud, and read the responses. So I am not sure, we kept this in there, but I would say for most elementary school kids, I don't believe they're going to be able to click on a pretest link and fill that out unless you're able to also hop on with them and read each item alongside with them and read each response item and really walk them through it. If you implement this in person, you'd hand out the scannable pretest form. You make sure everybody has a pencil or duck pen, and you'll read each item with them and you read each item response, and you'll help them complete it. If you do it online, you're going to have to do the same thing. Now, this is going to take up quite a bit of time. The pretest is shorter and it's easier for the elementary school kids than the middle and high school kid PPW program. But nonetheless, I think there's still 8 items, and that will take some time if you're going to want them to complete this, and maybe even more time if you complete it online. You'll have to test it, practice it, and see what works. Let me know what works, what doesn't. If you need some adaptations from us, let us know how we can help you. But that's how we have it set up right now with the pretest. Then you're going to have them. This hasn't changed. You'll distribute and you can see in the note section there, you're going to have them complete the fitness, health and fitness screening survey, hand it out in person. When you do this online, you're going to have them write this to the best of their ability. Actually, no, let's take a look at the directions here. This has changed. Either distribute the screening survey to youth during the in-person lesson and or show the following survey slides and ask your youth to answer the survey questions to themselves during the online presentation. This was a change. I forgot about that. This was a change because having youth actually write answers could be a real problem, especially for the younger kids, 4th graders, 3rd graders, because of their writing and comprehension. So what you'll do is when you show these questions, you'll read them and you'll ask them to answer themselves. So for example, number 1, kids, I want you to think about this and answer this to yourselves. Did you play any sports or physical activities in the last year? And by that, I mean like riding a bike or running, walking, playing on the playground, swimming, playing basketball or baseball, dancing, playing soccer. If you did any of these things in the last year, answer to yourself yes. If you didn't, answer to yourself no. Okay, second question. So that's how you would go through this. You'd have them answer to themselves. And that includes having ever used electronic or e-cigarettes, for example, a Juul or vape pen. Number 5, chances are elementary school kids have not done that. The slides the note in the slides from here on are about the same. Clearly, the actual slides are not. Look at the differences in the content's a little briefer. The images are these beautiful young children enjoying themselves, different ethnicities, different activities. But the notes are pretty much the same. Pause and have all youth answer the question to themselves. Ask youth to share their responses verbally. Again, writing and chat, probably not an option for the elementary school kids. So either you're going to hear them verbally when you present this online and in person, or you're not going to hear from them at all because they're not going to be able to unless you've got maybe a fifth grade class may be able to do it, but not fourth and third graders, I don't believe. But it's up to you to test it and see what works. And that's with regard to these discussion questions. Remember, the discussion questions keep everybody involved, engaged, but also have them reflect on their own habits. So really the important thing is have them look at this question and answer to themselves. If they can respond back and get a few responses verbally, that's even better for interaction purposes. And then when you go to the end of the slides, this is an elementary school version. This happens to be the vaping program, I should say. You're going to have them complete the goal contract. If they're in person, you'll distribute it and you walk them through it. But if not, if they're online, you're going to have them respond again verbally and to themselves. Okay, let me read the directions. Here it is. Either distribute and have youth complete the goal plan contract form in person, or if you're online, show the following slides and poll your youth verbally about how they responded to each component of the goal plan contract during the online lesson. So if you have that option to have them, to poll them, how many say yes, how many say no, do that if you can. So let's take a look at the contract. The contract is not 8 points, it's 3 points. Simplified it for the elementary school kids. They really need to have that. Here's point number one or part number one. Do you pledge to continue to stay away from using e-cigarettes, alcohol, drugs during the next 7 days in order to keep a healthy, active and healthy? How many say yes? Respond. You could, how many say no? If you can have them respond verbally. If you could think they could click on the yes hand or the thumbs up, you could have them do that. I'm not sure they're elementary school kids, and I don't know to what extent they are familiar with your platform they're presenting. I'd really focus on the yeses here. I don't think you have to really even ask for the no's. There won't be any no's here. Everybody will pledge to avoid e-cigarettes and other substances in the next 7 days. This is softened language because we know kids are not using. So the pledge is just to continue to stay away from e-cigarettes and alcohol and drugs because that could harm you being active and healthy. Very simple thing, and I think all kids will find that appealing as well as parents. The second part is, again, you're going to have them respond verbally. Which of the following healthy habits will you improve during the next 7 days? How many? There's 4 of them here, and you can go through all of them. A is getting more sleep, particularly 8 hours. Some need 9 or 10. B, eat healthy breakfast every day. C, eat 5 fruits and vegetables every day. D, get 60 minutes of fun physical activity every day. E, add some other healthy habits. So how many are going to get work toward getting 8 or more hours of sleep? That's the goal that they want to focus on the next 7 days. So you can have them respond verbally. If you think they could click on the hand raise, you could have them do that. And then when you get to E, again, if you have verbal communication with them online or even if you're doing these slides on in person, although these are designed specifically for online, you want to have them respond verbally. So and so that's, you're getting feedback on. So you've got 3 parts: pledging to avoid e-cigarettes, other drugs, next 7 days, pledging to choose one area to work toward, getting more sleep, eating healthy breakfast. These are obviously high ends, just to simplify it, and so they're really not, we're not asking them to set a goal because of the complexity of doing that online. And then lastly, 3, who are they going to tell about their goal? Notice they're not writing a goal, they're just thinking through the goal, and then you're going to launch them to go tell somebody on this list, from parents A to somebody else F, tell them about their goal to avoid e-cigarettes and other drugs and to improve 1 or more healthy habits. So who are they going to share this goal with? Who are they going to tell about this goal? They're going to identify that person, and that's really important to maintaining and increasing motivation for change. After that, that's the goal. You're going to congratulate them, read these points here, and then thank them. And then again, you have an option. If you're in person, you're going to have them complete the scannable post test. If you're online, um, you could you could decide if you think you could show the post test link and walk them through. But you're really going to need to read each of the post test items and the responses to help them really understand the post test. There's no open-ended items on the post test for the elementary school kids because we don't expect at least some of them to be able to write very well at this age, especially, grade 3, for example. All right, that is just to contrast the notes and the instructions and the slides and the differences between PowerPoint slides for a high school, middle school version versus elementary school version. What's the difference if we looked at maybe a middle school version program? Let's take a look at the middle school version program for marijuana. Not a lot of difference from the high school. Obviously, the difference between marijuana and vaping and sport, which focuses on alcohol, is that marijuana content focuses on cannabis. There's a screening question: have you ever used any marijuana? And so you're going to have physical activities, benefits, and here's how marijuana interferes with physical activities. Regular physical activity benefits. Here's how marijuana interferes with regular physical activity. Healthy eating benefits and images. Here's how marijuana cannabis interferes with nutrition, and so on. So the focus, and then toward the end of the lesson, when the focus is just on the substance use, it's about marijuana, not alcohol or vaping. Marijuana causes life problems. Studies show most youth do not use marijuana. That's the social norm message. Young people can practice saying no to offers, like any skill, resistance skill, healthy alternatives to using marijuana, etc. The focus is on marijuana. Okay, and then let me show one last set of slides for you. The opioid PPW program, we have one version for adolescents and then 2 other versions for young adults. But the difference here is there's a little bit difference in the content. By the way, notice the screening survey is a little different because it's an actual adaptation of InShape. So you've got a measure of moderate physical activity and vigorous physical activity or exercise, diet, what's called nutrient-dense diet. So a little more instruction in this opioid PPW program. 8 or more hours of sleep, stress control, which is added, and any, in the past 30 days, any prescription opioids you've used or for non-medical reasons, or any illegal opioids for that matter. And so the content here, you'll see a little bit more content than in the sport, marijuana and vaping PPW programs. And that's because it's an adaptation of InShape, which had a little bit more content, but also because we wanted to address, and SAMHSA, Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Administration, recommended that certain things are addressed in opioid prevention programs. For example, not just, for example, here we go. I'm looking for, here we go. Finally, I get to what to do in the case of an overdose and medication-assisted treatment and so on. So there's a little bit more content in the opioid PPW program. All right, I'm going to stop at this point and see if anybody has any questions. I'm going to stop to share. I think we got through this. I believe everybody was able to hear. Again, we had a little problem with my video. For some reason, my video is not working, but that's fine. You didn't need to, at least video of me, you didn't need to see me. I think you saw the slides. Are there any, we've got a couple minutes left. Does anybody have any additional questions? You could just type them in live chat. at this point? Or let's see, we got some here. It looks like there's something. Thank you for today's webinar. My pleasure. Another great presentation, but I have to get to another webinar today, Trove. All right, no problems. I understand everybody's busy. And I will say, as I always do, God bless you for what you do. Thank you for what you do. It's an honor for me to work with you and help in any way that I can. You're the heroes who are making a difference in the lives of young people and families in your communities, and doing so during tremendously challenging COVID-19 environmental situations, changing situations. So thank you so much for what you do. It's really, really awesome to spend this time for you. If you need anything from us, please do go to our website, preventionpluswellness.com. And you could message me there, or you could take a look at many of our free resources and our upcoming webinars. Maybe you want to even tell us what you need from us in terms of new programs, webinars, or other things. Okay, thank you so much, and have a wonderful afternoon, everyone. You'll be hearing from me because everyone will be getting a certificate, 1 hour CEU, a link to the to this recorded session as well. Thanks. See you later.